Um, okay, it seems like the sound was not coming out very well.
Yes.
Apologies, guys. You know, technology has got a way of embarrassing one.
Yes.
I'm with Chef Andile Somdaka.
Yes.
You know, the man hails from Guguletu in Cape Town.
Yes.
He's just told us that originally they came from Ukobokobo.
Yes.
Both his mom and dad came from Ukobokobo in the former Siskai, and they moved to Cape Town. So he grew up in Cape Town, where his mom used to, expose him to different aspects of cooking. And he just said to me that it's a good idea for parents how to cook.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not because you want them to be chefs,
Yes.
but it's a life skill. And I can attest to that. It was Nakala. You know, when I finished, undergraduate training and I went to start working,
Yes.
one of my biggest challenges was, in the early months, I would go and buy fast foods, KFC, whatever, which obviously are not so healthy. But I was forced by the fact that the skill to cook
was absent.
And, because, the way we were brought up long time ago, we were brought up such that, okay, those are the chores for boys,
yes,
and those are the chores for girls.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so because one concentrated on the chores for boys, that very important life skill of being able to cook,
yes,
I did not manage to, to get that skill. So when now you are actually lucky, because Mama Wako didn't say,
yes,
you know, she actually fought efanele uba ufunde esi skill, yeah.
And then Mama used to ask me to make teas.
Yeah.
Every time when she has guests visiting the household. And then I used to make tea for my mother. I was probably 12, 13 years old.
Yes.
11 years old. So I used to craft this teas.
Yes.
And Mama used to have this specific tea. Tea has to be made in a particular way.
Yes.
So I was a champion in doing that.
Yes.
So this whole thing started like that. So
Yes.
Cooking started from home, and then when I was exposed into hotels, because I never went to a hotel school to go and train to become a chef.
Yes.
That thing came much later.
Yes.
But I was actually trained at a hotel.
Yes.
I was actually exposed to food and cooking and training and everything.
Yeah.
In-house training. I did an in-house training in London.
Yes.
And that was 1990, 91, 92.
Yeah.
That is actually literally 32 years ago.
Yeah.
And
so basically, literally, and actually you loved it.
Yeah.
Because how big a standard 10 was I was going to grade 12. How now only choices
Form 5.
Form 5. Only choices about Diangapi.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Did you then make a decision at that time about I'm then going to pursue this?
Yes.
Or what was going through your mind as you were going through matric?
In fact, there was a holiday job.
Yeah.
That I got. This whole thing started during that holiday job, and then when I was there, I fell in love with what I was doing.
Yeah.
For me, it was not new to cook because I'm coming from home where I was actually exposed to this thing.
Yeah.
So then I was introduced to it as Ninja. So it excited me, So I was just doing something that I loved. In other words, basically, I never chose this career; it chose me.
Yeah.
So, and I also give credit to my mother and my sisters, my older sisters.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, even now today, I can cook things that I've never cooked in my life. That I used to see. What is this thing in English? It is what in caramel.
Yes.
Yes. So it gets on a million.
Yeah.
I've never cooked that thing in my life, but I can craft it now.
Yeah.
And I can get the exact taste that I used to be fed as a 2, 3, 4 year old boy.
Yes. Yes.
So that's how much our traditional food, our South African food means to me.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So
but you mentioned that you got exposed with cooking as a hotel, and I'm in Cape Town. The obvious has got top hotels, and the type of foods that obviously, are exposed to they would cover quite a number of, Mediterranean,
Yes.
and Far East, and whatever. So, but a little bit about that exposure, because it's a heritage foods as well.
Yeah. In Lagaban, it's a Greek resort.
Yeah.
There, I was actually exposed to cook the Mediterranean food, as you ever mentioned.
Yeah.
The Mediterranean food is like your Cyprus, your Greek, your Italian, your Syrian food, your Turkish food.
Yeah.
They cook similar.
Yes.
They use lemon, they use oregano,
yes.
They use olive oil.
Yes.
They use some of them. They use white wines on their food.
Yes.
So those are the things that I was actually exposed to.
Yeah.
And I actually created those things, I crafted those things, and I mastered them.
Yes.
I mean, if you can ask me to do Arnaki, I can nail it just like that.
Yeah.
Arnaki, stil pardo, lakerda, dolmados, tzatziki, tsaramasalata sauces.
Yes.
Those are the things that I've actually learned.
Yes.
But then I asked myself that if I were to take this business, if I were to take the knowledge that I got from the hotel training,
yes,
and try to open a business, a luxury, when you try to open a business into the black market,
yes,
who is going to eat this thing?
Yes,
it's going to be limited.
Yes.
Client base
yes.
that I would have. So then now the thing that prompted me to go back to my roots.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one who can cook better than me.
Yeah.
And it's like me, if I try to master pizza, I'm not an Italian man.
Yes. So you're basically saying, as an African,
yes,
you've got an advantage over the foods that are traditionally foods or kulanga also.
Yes.
A person from another nation
yes,
is unlikely to actually give
master
them and come up with products.
So the advantage was, you know what? The best thing to do is, there is nothing. I mean, I remember also I find myself at some stage in my lifetime as a young man.
Yeah.
I found myself in the television screens where I was acting movies.
Yeah.
And these guys who are script writers, they used to come to you and sit down with you and find out about you.
Yes.
What's your background?
Yeah.
See what type of life you live.
Yes.
And all those things. So they write a script based on your lifestyle. So when you are doing things naturally, you are always at your best.
Yes.
So when you're cooking, it's that you grew up eating yourself.
Creativity,
yes, and that's your beginning, that's your end. Yes, and so that's why when I talk, you get people who go and live in Australia. Get people who go in fact, we've been visit for that matter.
Yeah.
When they come back to South Africa, they can't wait to come and taste my food.
Yeah.
Tell yourself. There's a lot of customers that come to our shop, to our restaurant, who actually say exactly the same thing that you did 2 weeks ago when you came from USA.
Yeah.
You said South African food is something else.
Yeah, I mean, both in Qatar and the US, the food, I really, I miss South African food.
Yes.
The taste, it was bad. If we just say the taste is just not what we are used to. No, anything that was, on offer there, when you compare with what we have at home, I'm not comparison. And sometimes we do not appreciate what makes us who we are and what we are exposed to. It takes and then you realize, by us doing the things that take for granted, actually, yes. And that's why, I mean, within a day of me having come back, I went to a restaurant. I said, Andile, exactly. And the following day, 2 days running, was a restaurant because I just missed the taste.
Yes.
The authentic
nutrition.
Taste.
The sunshine D that hits our vegetables.
Yeah.
Makes our vegetables to taste differently.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are natural things that are growing. In fact, this is coming from my garden.
Yes.
I'm a chef who tries on promoting food that you grow yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, my food doesn't go to the fridge sometimes. it goes straight from the soil.
Yes.
I wash it straight to the pot.
Yeah.
And straight to your plate.
Yes. And that's organic stuff.
You know what I even use in my garden when I talk now is I use garlic water.
Yeah.
To try to kill the insects that are actually troubling my vegetables and herbs and everything. Or I use cayenne pepper water.
Yeah.
And these things I don't poison my soil. My soil is just natural.
Yeah.
You know, and if you taste my vegetable from and when you compare with other stores like your Pick and Place and I'm sorry, Pick and Place to mention them.
Yeah.
It's different. The taste is different, you know. So, Doc, I thank my mother, I thank my sisters, I thank my background, my grandmother, Mama Tuna, for raising me the way they raised me, and I'm leaving that legacy now of promoting our own South African food. I mean, if it's the man of Africa from outside South Africa, Baze is South Africa. The only thing that we can do, we must not get any better pasta or pizza. As Africans, as African food. If I go to West Africa, if I go to Ghana, I go to Liberia, I go to Togo, and Funucha pizza, and Funucha beef Wellington. With Yorkshire, but I don't want that. If I want West Africa, because of those people, they've got these unique ingredients. Yes. That we don't have in the southern region. Yes. I mean, in Africa, we are so rich with animal life. Yes. We have warthogs here, we have springboks, we have impalas, we have guinea fowls, Sine Bangele. Yes. It's that the world does not have. The only thing that we have to do, especially particularly in our industry, is the government can promote in tourism Africa, African tourism, South Africa, and all those things. We then have to come up with creativity in making sure that we don't drop the ball. Yes. And give these people our own South African food. Yeah. You know, no. When you want to go to eat palenda, go to Italian restaurants, which we have in South Africa. Yeah. And then we're not bashing on any other people, but we also have to talk more and more about our own South African food. Yeah. I mean, a restaurant in here to we ask for Seba, which is your farm chicken. Hardboard, yes. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we have to find ourselves adopting these names because we need to be relevant. Yeah. If I remember the summer months, I've been out to try dumplings. Yeah. Yes, and which is dumpling booty is something else. Yes. As we were speaking about earlier. Yeah. What you eat dumplings booty. Yeah. You put it there, you just dump it there, and that thing boils with the gravy. The gravy, yes. And then it gets all those tastes and flavors. Yes. And then that's dumpling to us. Yes. And then the other one, they are both steamed. Yes. They are both steamed bread. Both steamed bread, but the actual dumpling to us is that. Yeah. And then the other one is steamed bread. Yes. But in your restaurant, as the upper emigrant, yes. I mean, you specialize in those little cup kind of dumplings, yes, yes. Which I enjoy quite a lot. Yes. I enjoy quite a lot, and you know, if I will not order rice or whatever. Yes. I will have this. Yes. You know, together with Ella, or you know, oxtail or it's being there's no clear. There's one part that's what I'm home. By the way, let's talk about before we go back there, yeah, you know, I want us to talk about just briefly, yes, the big man, Andile. Yes. Just what kind of foods were his favorite foods? You know, was it a challenge for you to prepare those kind of foods? Was preparing, there's also the issue of consistency, yes, of the taste and everything that goes with it. If you taste that steamed bread, yes, if you taste it today, you can come next year and taste that thing. It's going to taste exactly the same. What we have done out of the experience over years and years of experience in the industry is to standardize the recipe. The recipe is standardized. Everyone, doesn't matter who is doing the cooking. There is a particular recipe that you have to follow it from to the T. Yeah. And once you do that, it makes the consistency of what you produce all the time. I remember when I talk, let's just start it from when I was interviewed for the show. Yeah. I actually was told that there is a position that was going to be available in Parliament in Cape Town. And I was working that time, and the sevens at St. Kilon Hotel. I worked in Mount Nelson Hotel in the hotel, Cape Town, which is 5-star hotel. Under Chef Strubel. I worked in Victorian Alfred Hotel in Waterfront. I mean, in Cape Town, we are blessed with top hotels. Yes. And we had Cape Town that was thriving then. Instead, they closed up thanks to Cape COVID. And we had Peninsula Hotel, we had President Hotel, we had Mount Nelson, we had the Grace hotels. So in Cape Town has been blessed with hotels and restaurants, top restaurants. In South Africa. And all, if you want to get in those hotels, I know those the paradise of that is in Cape Town, is in Western Cape. So I was actually brought up in that environment. So Doc, I went through the ropes of training in the hotel, as I said, inside the hotel. I was never brought into hotel schools because I trained on one of my qualifications. And then, which is last year, I also did the trade test just to check I was still qualified. I was still qualified as chef. We just got, and then we graduated about two.
Yeah, I saw you wearing some graduation stuff.
Yes. We did a trade test and test and to qualify as artisans. So Doc.
But we still go back to Parliament. They were looking for a chef to assist in Parliament.
I remember very well, Doc. I was working at the St. Kilon Hotel. I was a head chef at the age of 23 years old. 23, 24 years old. I was a head chef at the St. Kilon Hotel in Sea Point. It was a 3-star hotel. And on my lunch break, that's when I drove. I got into my model depot. Green. And then the doing that drive out to Parliament. Because the directions on how to get to Parliament. I was not even aware where was Parliament. I got there, and I was on my full uniform. With my chef's hat. So I went for the interview in the Parliament. I mean, at the Parliament in town. And I was interviewed by Abedungu. I was called for a second interview. Then I attended the interview, and then I was shortlisted, and I was asked to come to Victoria for the final interview, and then I was appointed. So Doc, in a nutshell, I found myself at the office, at the household of the president in Rondebosch, Cape Town. Where
so you were being interviewed by Parliament, but actually you got deployed. Whom's the president.
And I knew that the position was for the president, personal chef for the president. And what they actually was the requirement was somebody, because of what hotel, they could have sent other people. Ababazopeka, who were senior than me, who were much qualified than me. But they needed someone also who understand the culinary, who's qualified in the space. And someone also who understand Ujawash Cross. I'm accounting the also to Ujawash Cross because of Tina, we cook a restaurant that covers everybody. And whether you are from Free State or Limpopo or KZN, we serve you, interested. So now, that element of knowing how to pay, how to go to the and how to do all those things. And they helped me. They actually gave me that job. So I used
that became your competitive advantage.
That was a critical success. That was a critical success factor for me to get that job. So Doc, that's why I'm always grateful to my sisters up until today. When my sisters shout and then I ask, I'm always there, so for them, because they actually molded me to be what I am today. My mother, they played that role. So Doc,
so what was his favorite meal?
Well, I can't go sure. Chicken. And then obviously with the grape and everything. As a domestic worker.
Low Palenwat.
Who actually told South Africa about she was a personal chef on them. So I get along with her very well. So Sister is my friend and everything, but I was a chef for not Sister. I know Sister misled people, and but this is my friend. I love her. I've invited her also. Yes, and I've even posted it with her and said, look, while I was the personal chef for Matiba, I was running the house. I mean the domestic. And then she was cooking food when Matiba sent but at official level, the personal chef for Matiba was myself.
Yes.
So I still get along with this project.
Yeah. And what did it mean to you to actually be the one who would be a personal chef of such a great man? But also it carries some risk. I mean, if there's a problem, there's some food poisoning or something, and the president is down because you did not observe the hygiene. Was there any pressure that comes with that?
There was a pressure. I mean, we at times I will have meetings with the military dietitians. They will discuss the main unit diets. These are the things that I need to cook. These are the things that we need to do in the morning. This is how to cook porridge in the morning. I remember what I used to cook in the morning for him. Some of the breakfast was we used to do porridge in the age of milk. And with lots of milk. And he used to like that, and he used to also like to eat prawns. And what you do with these prawns, and then you soak them in the boiling water in the evening, and then leave them in the room temperature. The next morning you boil it, and also you serve that a bowl of prawns, and with that water that was actually soaked with, and it will have that, and then we'll have the porridge, and a meal plus and lots of milk, and so and then a bit of sugar also, obviously. And also over and above that, there was a fruit platter that you used to have to eat every morning. A fruit platter that I used to prepare him, and sparkling perrier water. I used to do that, and I used to bring this thing in a tray and go and serve him. And Matiba was a special human being. And was a special human being to all of us. I mean, I was very lucky to have worked and lived in the same house with him for those years that I actually worked with. And I didn't actually realize how big what I was doing until I was out of that situation. That was actually very hectic. But again, I was grounded doing my work.
So he only had one term as the president, and he handed over to UTM, Utabombe. So that changed to you. How difficult, or how, obviously, I mean, these are two different individuals with different tastes and everything. President Beki was much more well-traveled, being someone who was in exile, part of making sure that the ANC, continues on its mission. So therefore, his taste must have been much more, diverse compared to the big man who spent 27 years in Robben Island. So for you as a chef, how difficult was it to actually have, the second president as now your client, to cook for?
No, it was actually much easier because of President Beki. And I actually loved more to work with him. Because of, we could spend sessions. President Beki had a lot of health restrictions and requirements and everything. And then he was voting a lot because he was actually the one who was running the country. Even the time the president was President Mandela. President Beki was actually the one who was doing much of the work, and I was actually very privileged. I learned so much from him as his personal chef. His work ethics. That guy is a hard worker. That guy is a hard workaholic. That guy, he actually, the history speaks for itself. And he was a very easy person to work with, and we had to deal with also with his wife, who was Andile. Andile Beki, and it was
so how much did she have to, be involved in terms of emails? The guy.
She was the queen of the castle. So she was not a very easy person to deal with, but we had to navigate because of we were employees, and we were employed by government, the state. So we had to navigate ourselves from such, and but again, to tell you the honest truth, she was not an easy person to work.
Yes. I'm not gonna go further.
Yeah.
God, next time we yourself is there.
Yes.
All right. So you then cooked for these two presidents.
Yes.
But at some point you decided you were traveling with them as well. So at some point then you decided, I've had enough.
Yes.
Where did you go to?
I found myself at a Hilton Hotel here in Santon.
Yeah.
As a food and beverage manager there. And I found myself in no time, then I started my own business.
Yeah.
Years ago, in the year 2000.
Yeah.
And I was doing events.
Year 2000.
Year 2000. Yeah. I was doing events. There was while I was in the hotel there, also a lot of people wanted to have their events hosted by personal chef.
Yeah.
So there was a need for that.
Yeah.
So then I started doing these functions around the country and in people's households, in people's offices, and everything.
Yeah.
And this thing became an overnight success. And
well, it's not exactly overnight success because you had accumulated the skill for almost 15 years plus.
By then, yes.
You know,
yes.
Maybe your execution was good because then everything is sanga. But I mean, because there is a tendency from you know, anybody you know, can you just tell us a little bit about that, by the way? You know, what is the value of who you train on, whether you got on the job training at the different hotels in Cape Town, and then you also went you know,
in the culinary school.
Yeah. Culinary school.
Yeah. You know, Doc, there's nothing special about for me, I value training.
Yes.
And being qualified in anything that you do.
Yeah.
Because of you then understand that what you are doing, what's the reason for you to do this?
Yes.
You know, there is a reputation that is attached to what you are doing yourself as a chef.
Yes.
And unfortunately, industry here too has an element of anyone can just go to macro and get a jacket and call themselves chefs.
Yes.
And which is quite sad because of industry has actually suffered because of a lot of people who are not trained chefs.
Yes.
And they go around and claim to be chefs.
Yes.
And which is quite sad. And they making a very bad name for the industry. But if you deal with people who are qualified, they understand from hygiene, from food temperatures, how things must be prepared, to how long must fish stay out of a particular temperature.
Yeah.
You know the food storage systems are applied. The hygiene, do you sanitize your hands? Do you wash your hands regularly? What's the value of washing your hands without soap? And what's the value of washing your hands with soap?
Yeah.
Sanitizing. In our industry, the silicosis sprays have always been in our industry.
Yes.
You know, we have sprays that used to have to kill germs on tabletops.
On surfaces.
On the surfaces. I mean, the COVID, it came, we use gloves, we use masks, we use headgears, we use mop caps. Yes. And we've always been involved with this. And I don't understand the value of these things.
Yeah.
So then, you look at people who sell food on the street.
Yeah.
Not all of them follow the rules of hygiene.
Yes.
But not all of them don't follow rules of hygiene.
Yes.
So we cannot blanketly and have that.
When we had a problem of listeriosis here in South Africa, the whole issue of hygiene in relation to food, was brought to the fore.
Yes.
And I think the WHO also has got, certain recommendations around how to make sure that food is actually clean, is hygienically clean, and poses no danger to those who consume it.
Yes.
For example, the issue of refrigeration.
Yes.
Yes. The issue of if you're mixing of foods.
Yes.
If you are cutting,
it's called cross contamination.
Cross contamination, yes. If you're cutting, a chicken, with a knife, before we will cut any with the same knife. There are certain things you need to do. The issue, you know, and all of those things, because I think there's 5 things that are actually recommended to make sure that the food hygiene is actually good.
As I'm saying, Doctor, just to add on what you just said, I'm happy that you've actually brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean, in our industry, Doc, when you are not trained, you don't understand these things.
Yeah.
The brown cutting board.
Yeah.
Is for cooked meat.
Yes.
Whether it's chicken, whether it's fish, or whether it's beef or lamb, it's for cooked food.
Yeah.
There is a green cutting board. There is yellow cutting board. All these things are actually stipulated that this is for vegetable, this is for this is for, and when you are trained, you know that exactly the red cutting board is what for. It's for red meat. It's for raw red meat. The white cutting board is universal. But make sure that it's cleaned and properly and everything. So the value of using people who are qualified are those little elements. Because when people get sick, people get food poisoning. Just imagine a person gets who's pregnant gets food poisoning, can lose the child. You know, so and the risk of using people who are qualified is a problem. But again, unfortunately, we have situations whereby the likes of Osomi's, who is doing very well, he got, and then one thing that I like about him, he didn't call himself a chef. Yeah. Which I respect him for that. Yeah. But those are the trainings that also means they don't have yet.
Or anyone who's a layman.
And then also people don't understand that you can't call a chef when you don't have a national diploma or national certificate of qualification of being a chef. You can't call yourself a chef if you don't have that. Yes. And then also then others they said look, I'm going to downgrade myself into a cook. There is an 18 months course that gets you qualifications to become a cook. Yeah. You know, and if you can't just call yourself a cook, even if you're just a cook, you are self-trained. You can't just call yourself a cook because there are qualifications to these things. Yeah. Well, I can forgive people who are saying they are home cooks. Yeah. Because if you are a home cook, it's fine in itself. Because of because of you misleading the clientele. Yes. Yeah. So Doc. Okay. No. Now let's get back then to heritage. Heritage, because really our conversation is about the heritage foods. Yes. Or South Africa specifically, right? Now, if you compare South Africa, I mean, you are well traveled. Yes. If you compare South Africa, yes, and the many other places you've been to, in terms of traditional food, how rich are we in terms of diversity? How rich or how in depth, the breadth of traditional foods? Because remember, for example, we talk about the rainbow nation. Yes. Yeah. Even amongst black people, across among Zulu, Tongas, Northern Sotho, Tswanas, and in each of those, I'm sure there are foods that are unique. For example, if you go to the Mopani area, yes, and Limpopo, yes, Banyamakonye. Yes, so that's unique to that area, but there's lots of lot of commonality. Yes. So I want to just hear about, from where you're sitting as a South African chef. If somebody said, I'm bringing a group of Americans, yes, African Americans, yes, or Europeans, yes, from Germany or whatever. Yes, they want each authentic South African. Bring them to Israel. Yeah, authentic, yes, South African, yes, food. Obviously, when you come from the Eastern Cape, yes, and when I go to your restaurant, there will be a lot of stuff from that province. Yes, yes. But if the person organizing that tour, yes, of the tourists says, I want a diversity. Yes, have some sample foods from Malanga. Yes, yes. Have some sample foods, yes, from Limpopo. Yes. Have some sample foods from the Cape. Are you able to do that? With ease. There is Pastor Masala. He's from Limpopo, he's vendor.
Yeah.
He's my friend, a great friend of mine.
Yes.
And he actually used to, wow, this guy is actually very special to me.
Yeah.
And he's very special, I mean, to everyone, I mean, that know him very well. I mean, he used to be a right-hand man for Pastor, what's his name? Monroe.
Yes. Miles
Monroe.
Yes.
This guy used to travel with Pastor Miles Monroe around the world.
Mm.
And about a month and a half to 2 months ago,
yeah,
he actually brought a delegation from Jamaica,
yes,
from Barbados,
yes,
from Trinidad and Tobago,
yes,
and then guys from Atlanta, people from the church.
Yeah.
He brought them to my house and I hosted about almost 35 to 40 people.
Yes, yes.
And what I did there was I cooked them oxtail our own South African way. Ndabenzela ulusu, malamhodo.
Yeah.
Ndabenzela ihapori chicken.
Yes.
Ndabenzela dumplings.
Yes.
Ndabenzela manina sheep trotters and ndabenzela nakapok trotters.
Yes.
I had a buffet for them. I
yes.
showed off. Ndabenzela not really.
Yes.
The oxtail gate.
Yes. One of my favorites.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Yes.
Yeah.
Ndabenzela ne dumpling. Ndabenzela namngusho. Ndabenzela ne papa.
Yes.
Those people, they were blown away.
Yes.
And funny enough, a couple of weeks later, they came back.
Yeah.
For more of the treat. Yes. They said they wanted to have the same treat.
Mm.
Last week, the daughter of Miles Monroe was at my restaurant with the pastor and then her husband. Yes. So, and even last year sometime I hosted them in the restaurant. Yes. So I do get a lot of people from African Americans who come to South Africa for Caribbeans who come to South Africa for one business or the other. Yes, and they want the South African food experience. Yeah. So we welcome them and then we feed them, and then we make sure that when they leave, they leave with a lasting impression. You know. Yes. And yes. But of the things that you were, mentioning, that you included, were there, foods from other parts, of the country? Or have you had a situation where a client demands, a broader, range of foods from different provinces of this country? There is a lot of people who talk. I've never actually tasted eating in Yamabe. Yeah, yes, because that usually it's the people who are people, yes, who actually eat eating. Yes, they love it. Yeah, you want any money? Yes. And some chatting. Okay. There is a friend of mine who actually taught me how to eat ting. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, even now at the restaurant, we have it. Yes. There's not even a single day we don't have ting in our at the restaurant. Doc, when you're there one day, and me and myself and you, we spoke about it, that you even educated me and you helped me to understand the value of fermenting food. Yes. Because what we're eating is a fermented food. Yes. And these are the things our grandparents used to cook for us, used to make for us when we were young. Mm. And then when I came to Johannesburg, I was introduced into the fermentation of food. Yes. And but now we used to have that as a porridge in the morning. Yes. But now they used to smooth. That was a favorite of us as children. Yes. It was as a food of grandmother. Yes. And out in the loose. Yes. Please, when you are at the restaurant, to let me know when you're coming. Yeah. I'll prepare. I'll prepare eating. Yes. And then I'll pair it with umhot. Yes. And you feel the taste of that thing paired with the umhot. Yeah. That thing is very nice, dog. Yeah. And at the beginning, when I tasted it, it was sour. It made me sick because I ate it with meat. Yeah. And I had a running tummy. Yeah. Because I didn't understand, I had to understand the pairing of this thing. Yeah. When I got used to it, dog, I can't lay my hands off it. Yeah. And you said to me when you educated me, as a doctor, as a medical doctor, you said to me, the reason why our grandparents gave us this fermented porridge in the morning, it has those friendly bacteria that your body needs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I understand why our grandparents did this. It has those life friendly bacteria that our nowadays we rely on buying our probiotics because the foods that we eat and some of the things this is that they actually kill those friendly bacteria. Which is why it doesn't need antibiotics.
a probiotic to
Yes.
try and restore the
Yeah.
balance, because you need those friendly germs.
Yes.
Now, one of the people who are watching Sakele and Dabi.
Yes.
I'm glad Andile has been given a good and broader platform to share his story. He's been around for long, and I think he deserves to be celebrated for his entrepreneurial resilience. He's an influencer. The other day, I was talking to a little boy at Bootleggers, asking him, when is he starting his own business? These boys don't have an A+, and people inspire them because everybody is claiming to be a chef these days. Thanks, Mabeka, Mfowethu, and good luck with your African cuisine restaurant, Makani. So that is from Usake. Yeah.
Yeah,
what's your comment with what Usake has just said?
Yeah, Sakele, my brother, thank you very much for being so nice to me. And I promise you, my brother, I will not let down, and I'll carry on promoting our foods and then making sure that whoever wants to be helped in achieving is the Dofunu's achiever in terms of that culinary space.
Yeah.
I always go around the country, I always go around the world to go and motivate and making sure that we give support that is necessary to people who want to grow in the industry, and especially people who want to take their roots serious. I mean, because of when you are cooking and traveling, you're a black man, you're cooking Indian food, you open an Indian restaurant at Roshi, and you'll always be subjected to criticism. We don't do these things this way. We don't do this this way. And then you are at your best when you are doing your own.
Yes.
Yeah, you are at your best, you perform at your best. As I said earlier, when I spoke about people who are doing script writing.
Yes.
They try to find your background, your personality. They write a speech based on being a womanizer if you are or even they write a script based on your personality.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to make an effort to do anything that you do.
Yeah.
You just act at your best. Yes. When you're cooking food that you grew up eating, I mean, it's effortless. Yes. You know, you grew up cooking this thing. And then the only thing that you can do now is to master this thing. And you are at your best when you're doing your own.
So a creativity is on the authenticity. Exactly. You know, I remember some time ago, I was speaking to Uri. You know him very well.
Yeah.
You know him very well. We are at village Novali. Yeah. You know, and when he was still singing in many other languages,
yes,
you know, he was okay. But immediately when he decided that he is now going to sing the stars,
yes,
you know, he just blew up.
I'm telling you.
You know? So sometimes we always are not saying we must let's go.
Yes.
Because we live in a globalized world. But sometimes you will be appreciated by the world more when you are authentic, you know, and there's no effort in having to copy. It will take so much more for you to be able to do something as good as the person you are copying.
Exactly.
But if you actually use your base, your base, your experiences, you know, so I guess the same thing applies when it comes to you know, the space social.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, though, there's a good now, like a tutorial, because all happens.
Yes.
Lamfino doc can share on Instagram page.
Yeah.
And the people who there's a mistake. And I perish at this thing.
Yes.
I mean, Lamfino, I've never cooked this thing.
Yeah.
Lamfino, more or less like this. Yeah. And I cooked this thing. I started take a lot in my life. But what I did is I know how it tasted. You know, I would remember very well how it tasted this thing. When my older sisters, yes, the time my parents don't know that. And the way it tasted, I remember vividly.
Yeah.
So now with the skill of a chef, I could take this thing and put it together.
Yeah.
And
well, it looks well presented. Yes. You know,
yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it looks very nice and it tastes very nice.
Yes.
You know, but you also brought me this meal, you know,
Yes. Yes.
Now I was boasting to you, Umuti, when my mom was still alive.
Yes, yes.
I would phone her
Yes.
and I'll ask her, please, man, can you guys slaughter a sheep?
Yes.
You know, get to bed for 7 p.m.
Yes.
Get to start around 2, 3 a.m.
Yes.
But after 3, 4 hours of sleeping, when I wake up, I will be offered this fresh liver.
Yes.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the momentum.
Yes.
You know, it's the fat that covers the intestines of the sheep.
Yes.
Now, can you talk to us about that? Because it's one of the favorite, meals.
Yes.
You know, people will come in, they come to they are given this or they are given malamukudu with steamed bread. Yeah.
The next day. Kwenzeka yi-1 kuyaxhelwa namhlanje kuthiwa umbilini from uqoqoqo all the way down ama-intestines ubuluso and
basically all the internal organs.
Yes, all
your trachea, your lungs, your liver, the intestines, the spleen, liver, and kidneys.
Yes, they will be separated properly. And then there's a cut with sequence, clanges, and all those things and all that. In the morning, just in case of they were lazy to look.
Yeah.
They will prepare these things. And a previous night, steamed bread.
Yes, yes. Or it was
you call it roasted.
Yeah.
It's called an some
Oh yes, just one.
What is some back? And it's 7 and it's breakfast in the morning. That's it. So maybe that you lose so out to get matumbu, better speed is Italian and it's also trial. And then you're going to do that. So this is breakfast.
So for me, when you ask me, yes, what are my favorite foods? Yes. Like manyang,
yes,
fresh liver,
yes,
with a bit of momentum,
yes,
which you served to me before we went live.
Yes.
Or steamed bread,
yes.
It is steamed bread with ipets. Let's be like food.
Yes.
Yes. It mustn't be too clean.
Yes.
Like the woolies type of malam food.
It's clean,
yeah.
But don't bleach it. It must not be white.
Yeah.
Leave it like this. And we I remember the other year we went to Denmark.
Yeah.
And we were invited by ambassadors in Somdaka.
Yes.
To go and do some food expo there and all that.
Yeah.
And then what we did is we packaged our own food from South Africa.
Yeah.
Because we knew that in Europe,
yeah.
So what we did is package and so there were problems with getting the food that side.
Yeah.
So we ended up not getting the food there on time.
Yeah.
And then the event was there, and then we were there also. So we had to resort into going to local butchers.
Yeah.
Where we got to
like white.
Yeah. And the blue bleach. Bulk clean after that bulk bleach. And then that alone kills. And then also we try to lose down the food.
Yeah.
Because when you cook this thing in Amalaba Futakon, especially in Amatumba corner, it gives you, because of Amatumba corner, our cleaner, the natural casing, it's sausage for us.
Yeah.
And then now the vitamins and the alcohol now. Also, go pick up and lose down. We can sleep fast and the things that don't flavors. So, but then we tried to cook those things because we didn't have what we wanted.
Yeah.
Which is part they clean properly.
Yeah.
And then says I eat in the lunch at 59. It was very successful.
Yes.
But one thing that we managed to get right there was
and
which is your favorite here?
Yes, it's another favorite of mine.
Yes, but what we did is we brought our own system from South Africa. Yeah. Which is our own secret system. We made it our own. And that dish came out very well. because we use just labo. As an assistant from South Africa. So we did a pap tart, which is your African dish.
Yeah.
If I want mushrooms, if I want cream, if I want bacon, and then after that you cook it, and after cooking you put a tray in your baking tray, and we sprinkle the cheese and we cut it into blocks. It's very, very nice. And we embraced it because of its South African food.
South African food,
I mean, roasted as cool as the roaster cooks. And they eat those things also because of it's part of their culture also.
Yeah.
So heritage embraces not only it embraces all the people who are South Africans.
Yes.
Or all people who are Africans.
Yeah.
So we are embracing our own local ingredients.
Because we are a diverse nation.
We are a diverse nation. I mean, you look at this.
We're a diverse nation, and so if you are going to go out there and actually, go and promote South African food, then you can't just limit it to what we know in the townships and the rural areas. Yeah.
So,
now, you were just showing really what is this? Chicken, but tell us a little bit what's interesting about this chicken that you cooked.
This chicken, hard-boiled chicken, which is a traditional, is cooked our own traditional way, and when you cook this chicken, less is always more.
Yeah.
Don't put spices in it, just salt and pepper. Even you don't have to even use pepper, and you can just also add stock.
Yeah,
that's fine. You don't put onion into this, and because of it's got its own flavors. You know, like
yeah.
And the flavors are called as pan, and this is a road runner. This is hot chicken.
Yes,
it's own authentic flavors.
Yes, is it the same as when you go to Woolies, they'll tell you of what's this chicken now?
Maybe it's organic chicken.
No, they've got a special name that they use. Basically free range. Yeah, they talk about free range.
Yeah.
Is it the same as a free range?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. In free range, this chicken is for on days.
Yeah.
This is a natural chicken.
Yes.
I mean, there was another day here.
I remember growing up, I used to say to my mom, where's Jimmy?
Yeah.
And I would refuse to eat. Yeah. And we had a shop at
Yes.
So we used to sell everything for chicken as well.
Yes.
So I would say they can give this to anyone else, but
fridge.
It's a rainbow chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, but so growing up, I didn't eat a lot of
this. Yes.
But once you're out of that environment,
then you realize.
And then also you actually appreciate it.
Yes.
Now I love it so much. But growing up, I was like, no, rainbow chicken.
Because of you wanted the poison.
So yes, I mean this is organic stuff,
natural stuff.
There are no hormones.
Yes.
In the growing up of that chicken.
Yes. They grow up. The chicken we're using antibiotics.
Yeah.
So that's why when we are going to hospital or the private doctor.
Yeah.
And they give us antibiotics. They're not working because our body is full of antibiotics already.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you eat this is natural. This is natural chicken, and
So basically, you brought me umfino with meal porridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it comes out as it cost, not fine.
Yeah.
How do you what you can do is you can get in babies like bright pap.
Yeah.
In another cost.
Yeah.
Or else you can also get in meal rice.
Yeah.
And then also once you cook with those things, your temperature of cooking must be very, very low because it's going to harden up very quickly while the product is still raw.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to cook it properly, your heat must be very low.
Yeah.
And to make sure that the heat gets transferred into the pot naturally and very effectively to make sure what you are better.
Yeah.
So
So all of what you've brought here is stuff that if one goes to Eziko restaurant, which is just around the corner from my office.
Yeah, it's not from here.
Yes, they will get this.
They will get this.
So just take us through quickly again what you brought for me and why you thought you should bring this. I mean, one of my faves is not here. Yes, Fundi.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, I brought a lot. I wanted to bring a lot of food. When you say it's going to just about me and you, and then the guys were at the back.
Yeah.
Then I had to reduce the outtake.
Yeah.
So Doc, RS 2882, we have your favorite, which is Louis.
Yeah.
And then Louis was a packaging of Louis.
Yeah.
Louis I was sorry.
Yeah.
And come and taste it. We'll give you taste for free.
Yeah.
The oxtail is very, very nice.
Yes.
It's juicy too. Since in beef stew, lamb curries, and lamb curries.
Yes.
They are very nice with your weight.
Yes.
And then we also have this chicken, obviously. And then also
this chicken, which is hard-boiled chicken. That's how it's written in your menu.
Yes.
Yes.
And then also we had Spencer's meat. This meat is actually price. Put a onion, paprika, and other things and all that.
Yeah.
Natural.
The authentic way that's Makai.
Just out and then serve it. And then it's been lamb chops, which are with white rice, the pork chops, the lamb chops,
what is different about the way you prepare foods as Zico that I wouldn't be able to get if I went to Butcher Grill?
Smiling, I was on to Butcher Grill. It's not smiling, but
explain to people what smiling is. Not everybody knows that.
It's a sheep head.
Yeah.
It's a sheep head, and then it's cut in half. And we boil this thing and until it's cooked. What then we do is, and then after it's cooked, we then ask you as a customer when you come to the restaurant whether you want it deboned or you want to debone it yourself.
Yes.
And people always give us their own preferences.
Yes.
And we serve that thing with chakalaka.
Yes.
And obviously the other side will always be either spinach or cabbage.
Yes.
Or if we have other things like your beetroot and all things, we run almost as you said.
Yes.
And then also sometimes we even have bright nuts and all of this.
Yes.
And we always have those wide range of varieties of vegetables over the weekend when we have a bigger number of people who come to buy the meals for the families.
Now, ukho comment kabuyiswa Bungani. Uthi nje uthando nesithembu. Now, I'm not sure. I know that this is a program. The gentleman from Cape Town. Sorry, from KZN. On our by 5. But ubhale nje uthando nesithembu. So I'm not sure how that relates. To the heritage foods that are such. But Usakhele uphinde wabhala futhi, ask Andile if he's got any relationship with Eat Out. These guys basically promote national best restaurants. They are a good platform to market these cuisines. They even hold awards and are partnering with potential clients. So do you have a relationship with Eat Out so that you can also be marketed as people give feedback and get them awards? He's also saying, I'm enjoying this conversation because our foods are so undermined by our own people because they don't know what food. They don't know what food is to their lives. It's so sad. So he's basically encouraging you, Uguti, the niche that you have decided to focus on, despite Uma's skills to cook anything under the sun, but he's decided on African cuisine.
Yes.
South African cuisine to be much more specific.
Yes.
So he's basically saying thumbs up. And go out there, strike relationships so that you can be networked even more and be rated and even stand to win awards. I'm sure you, in your life as a restaurant, you've won quite a number of awards. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
In fact, Sakhele, I'm happy, Sakhele, that you're actually raising the Eat Out platform. I've actually tried to reach I think I'm on their Facebook page, but I never took it serious and follow it up and all those things. But unfortunately for us to start getting the national awards on promoting our own selected food and everything. Because of, I know there's other people who are doing the same thing. And they are free to copy what we do. And I'm also learning from others also. I need to get.
But you've got some secret, ways of doing things. You could all be cooking liver, you could all be cooking hard body, but the how you prepare it depends a lot in terms of, especially if we are looking at the authentic stuff, which part of the country you grew up in, and it could even be coming from the Eastern Cape, but how something was cooked by will not be the same as how it was cooked a couple of where I come from. So I'm sure there are certain secret ingredients and ways of doing things that are uniquely Andile.
No, it's definitely spot on, doctor. And coming back to this eat out thing. Thanks very much, Sakele, for raising this thing. Eat out. I think I need to take it serious, and I'll make sure that I'm actually registered on their database. Before end of this week, and to make sure that they collect the data of people who give feedback, good and bad feedback. Because of bad feedback also is not entirely bad. It makes us to correct the wrongs.
And by the way, you are on Uber Eats. I only see a lot of motorcycles waiting for food. So even if you have a permit, they can actually order Uber Eats, and then the food can actually be delivered.
No, the output is the output is, the Uber Eats issue was actually, Tina, during the time COVID went down, when restaurants were closing down and people were closing down businesses, actually, Tina, we were lucky enough, we were re-employing people during COVID. The amount of food that we actually, when we introduced our system into Uber Eats and Boosted Delivery, and that platform actually made it easier for us to run the numbers out. So Uber Eats.
So that's one of the things that helped your business to survive. Well, quite a number of businesses, they actually went down during COVID. So that to you switching and embracing Uber Eats and Boosted Delivery type of methods of delivering to clients. Well, people couldn't come to your premises, and then or they were not allowed to eat in the premises. It became actually I would call it something that helped you to mitigate the risk.
To us, Uber Eats, when we use that platform, our sales went up because of people that got tired of cooking their own food over and over again. And and because of their professionals, people, these people are highly qualified. They are doing work. They're running multinational companies. They don't necessarily have time to cook these dishes. So, because of just imagine nobody's in the we can say or something. We come up with mechanisms of making sure that we reduce the time of doing these things and making sure that we specialize in these things. So for us, it becomes very easy. So that period, lockdown, we did very well, and we were employing people in there. And then obviously, so we didn't suffer at all. So it's called, we dare to diversify. We have to do different business.
Innovate and diversify. Now, Andile, I've got 5 minutes left. With you. Now, some South Africans still know, like what Mr. David said. Some South Africans, they still look down upon what we refer to as the authentic, meals as a Makaya. So can you just talk a little bit about that quickly, but also just tell people about you, Eziko, where Eziko is, and the other channels of Eziko, I'm basically giving you a 5 minutes to market Eziko before we close.
We are based in Midrand, Cornerliver and Orphans for Road. There's a place called Charlottetown. The Eziko restaurant, that's where it is. And if you want to place orders before you come, because of sometimes you wait too long because of our restaurant sometimes gets too busy. Where we have clients that are not necessarily there, like through the EQ and through the motorbikes, your Uber and to deliver the motorbikes.
Yes.
It's always better to phone and place your orders on the number 073 864 1791.
Pinda.
083 864 1791. You call that number. If you call it and then no one is picking up, either it's the load shedding network issues or that phone call is busy with another phone call. Please just try it again and again. And other than that, you can just go straight to our inbox on Facebook and try to place your orders there, which is we don't promote that one because we prefer that you place your order directly on the line.
Yeah.
And coming back to the food, we want the gentleman that is. I would like to meet this man.
Yes.
Personally, I would like
Mr. David.
Mr. David. Mr. David, thank you very much for your love and support. And our businesses, Tina, are absolutely nothing without people like yourselves. So in other words, is you said very, very, very touching things. A couple of them. One of them was Tina ourselves, we are to blame for not showing love to what we are and our foods and everything. And you ask highly qualified black or white chefs, what is South African food? They can't tell you. What South African food is. And that is defined as a definition of African food, which is quite sad. It's not true. I mean, that doesn't mean we don't eat the animal. We only eat the chicken feet. We don't eat the whole chicken. Is that what it means? What we do with the whole.
It's a delicacy, you know.
Brothers,
there's a term for that here in Johannesburg. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not only, you know, what makes ulusu, what makes umlefa, what makes it teaches there to South African food. It's the way we cook them. Because if you go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, you go to Venezuela. It was quite apart because the animals they carry distance. What makes Turkish food in terms of like Turkish is how they cook it. What makes it Italian is how they cook it. What makes it a Mexican dish is how Mexican cook this thing. What makes it South African is how we cook it. Is what we put here. We use our own local and unique ingredients that we have in South Africa. So I'm very, very proud and very jealous to make sure that we protect our own heritage and our own food. I mean, our food is a deep part of our heritage. You know, I mean, I mean, I went to Palabor. I did a function there through what call it in Marula Festival. Yes, but is you take a pancake, you boil it, but you boil it with you extra amount of water, and you use cost minimum to cook it as like different. But you can use butternut, but preferably use pumpkin. You put that thing with extra water, and once that thing is nice and soft, you then add sugar in it, a little bit of sugar, and also minimum, and preferably use the cost one. That is something that we grew up eating. And then our Italians, they take exactly the same thing, but this is a polenta. Same thing that we grew up eating is exactly the same thing though. And we would rather turn our back on these things, you know, and go and rush and eat polenta, some Italians. And we show no love. I like Osakele better. We are to blame. We complain about respect to Chapo. We're not promoting our own food. I'm India, when we go to anywhere. Those people will consistently be saying that thing that's called samosa. Their curries and everything. I mean, we went to a tourism in Durban. There's a guy from East Africa who's our friend, a friend of ours, who actually was tasked by South African government to be the face of African food. And he chose Ipanichawa to be a national dish of South Africa. We put our foot down and said, look, this Ipanichawa is not going to fly. Ipanishawa is a regional dish that is not even consumed by Zulu nation. Let alone Devon, let alone KZN people. Even there in Devon, 90% of the population that lives in Devon don't eat Panishawa. Yes, and then you cannot take this thing and propel it and make it a national dish. Yes, and because of even people from Devon don't eat this thing. Yes, so it's our own fault, guys, our own food, even something that was eaten and loved by our iconic president, most famous president of this world. Nelson Mandela used to love this emotion and body. It's not making part of these national dishes. Well, I almost said it, but I will say that.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm to be blamed for that. I will take the blame for us not to promote Uchawe. I will take the blame not to promote in don't take a blame for that. So guys, eating Yamabe, Masonja, we also cook it our on request when we have our own favorite, our own customers who love this thing. They ask me to cook this thing, and in fact, to tell you the truth, a person who made me to eat Masonja, I eat them.
Yes. And then wrong there. High protein content.
Yes. A person who made me to eat those things is Yongo, the lady Yongo.
Yes.
He loved that, and the guy is from Mr. Captain.
Yes.
So I said, if this guy can eat this thing, and I've been cooking this thing for so many years, I've never eaten this thing. Let me just taste this thing. And I loved it. So when we have our friends, people who are like, oh, Mike is a vendor, he's coming from vendor. He says, in the one, can you rock me this thing? And I will rock it. And so you've asked a question, if we have people who are asking regional foods, if food from Humanama, food from Liboko, food from like Tinyamabera illustrated earlier. We do these things on the top here. There, you can find anything that you want on request here.
Yes. All right, now thank you very much. So people can come to your restaurant.
Yes.
People can order from Uber Eats.
Yes.
Yeah, or Mr. Delivery. Yeah, or people can actually, phone if they don't have time to wait.
Yes.
They can phone in and say, I want this. And if they've got certain variations that they want, they can talk to the chef. By the way, you are mentoring and coaching and providing opportunities for a number of young chefs there.
Yes. I've got a conveyor belt of chefs that I trained and I get them ready. Gift Shabalala is one of the typical examples.
Yeah.
The young man, he got in there, he was qualified chef. And then again, he was trained in a European way of doing things. And then I brought him back to reality, which is South African food. So Gift is one of the best things I've ever seen. We got there, he was raw. Myself and Mashomana, we spoke to him and then when we met him, and we told him straight away that he's not ready, he needs to go into the industry. He can't open a business when he's that blank.
Yeah.
And then he asked me to give him an opportunity to work with him, work with me for free. He wanted to just learn from me. And I said, look, now I'll make you to work for free, I'll pay you.
Yeah.
But come and work with me. And then he came, and then the rest was history.
Exactly.
So there's a lot more people that are actually.
So basically, the issue, the whole thing of lift as you rise.
Yes.
You actually practice that.
Typical example: this water, this water is designed and made. It's supplied by a young man.
Yeah.
A young man who happened to be black.
Yeah.
So when I try to rise, I make sure that I take people around me. And make them benefit from it. So I don't go alone. I don't go alone.
Yeah.
I make sure that people around me.
Yes.
This different thing. This thing is made by a black woman who lives here in Midland.
Yes.
She's my friend, and she made this thing for me for Heritage Month last year.
Yeah.
And I paid her for it.
Yes.
This jacket is actually made by a company called Chef Brigade.
Yes. No. It's just some controversial stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I had given 5 minutes, but it's actually gone for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We've taken so much of your time being a Sunday. But I think the main purpose of inviting you, Andile, was basically to say, as South Africans, as Africans, there are foods that are so much linked with who we are. And we need to be able to explore
and
embrace these foods. And also there are people who are making businesses out of those kind of foods. So we, as much as yes, you can go and have your Mediterranean, Italian, Greek, whatever, but also do give a chance to people like Andile,
to your own,
who actually have decided that despite the fact that they've got a wide range of skills in terms of cooking the world foods, they will promote what they believe is the foods that our forefathers used to, eat. They may innovate here and there, but again, they try and use very little of, spices and other things because they want to keep the taste authentic. You've got that thing from yes. So no, but anyway, Andile, thank you very much, man, for making time. I know a shop busy. I'm sure they are waiting for you right now because we give them that personal touch. But thank you for giving us the time to just talk about you, your business, and what is on offer. As part of our Heritage Month. So if you don't know where to go to and you are in the Midrand, Pretoria, Joburg area, at least on Heritage Day, which is a Saturday, yes, please make a 10 as Zico in Midrand. You will get all of these foods, etc. But to all of the people who have tuned in, just listen to me talking to this celebrated chef, who's got a lot of humility. I mean, some people haven't worked with two presidents. Their heads would be so solid. But Andile is actually a down-to-earth guy. But do not misunderstand that he's down-to-earth with Uba Arayazi, Ayazayo. The man is a seasoned player, and I've been saying to him, he now needs to expand his business, and he's looking at different options on how to expand his business or even franchise certain aspects of his business. But that is a talk for another day. So thank you very much to everybody who managed. For those who did not manage, especially about the technical problems we had earlier, we will have this available on YouTube. Yes. We'll also have it available on our official Facebook page. And then so you can actually just share it on your own timeline so that more people can actually get to know more about our authentic heritage foods from the point of view of Chef Andile.
Yes, thank
you very much to everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you.